Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to live session from Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are on chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita as it is, knowledge of the Absolute. So we have covered the chapters 1 to 6 now, so far. And we've been covering from chapter 1 to 6, it's Karma Yoga. And from chapters 7 to 12, we shall be covering Bhakti Yoga. So this is the first chapter from where Bhakti Yoga begins. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mokam Kavati Vachalam Pangam Langate Girim Yat Kripatamam Vande Shri Gurum Deenatayam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Verse 1. Maya Sakta Manah Partha Yogam Yunjanma Dasharayah Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyasya Tachrinu. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." Verse 2. Jnanam teham savijnanamidam vakshyamaya sheshatah yagyatva neha bhuyonya jnatva jnatatavyam vashishyate. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Verse 3. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatamapi siddhanam kaschinamam veti tatvatah. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So, first 3 verses are all about the glory of the knowledge of Lord Krishna. And in this day and age, in the modern age, anything which our senses cannot perceive or get, it's very easily rejected. This looks like a very logical approach, but it does have its own limitations as well. So if you want to know what is, for example, coming on the different television channels, you have to check their program or the listings or the TV guide coming on the TV. Otherwise, it's not possible for you to just tell what is coming, because unless you are one of those persons who know every program inside out and their schedule as well. So we are very much dependent upon our senses for answers in this world. So if somebody says to you, it's raining, you know how rain feels like, but you want to go out and just check, is it raining very fast, or is it just a little bit drizzle? So we are always dependent upon our senses or the sensory experience for the answers to our questions. Now, to accept somebody who is a higher authority is something else, isn't it, for many of us in this world? So in this chapter, Krishna is actually starting to stress it is absolute necessary to accept the higher authority and hearing from that spiritual authority or the source to understand the realities of this universe. Now this is shown, like we've been saying from chapter 1, it's the knowledge is all coming from Krishna down to the present Guru or the bona fide spiritual master you have become disciple of. So in first verse, Krishna is saying that that Pritha, that is Arjun, Krishna is telling him that that you can know me, that is know Krishna in full and free of doubt by practicing yoga in full consciousness of Krishna. So this is how the first verse begins. Like we were saying that the yoga has to be of being consciousness, or consciousness being conscious of Krishna. So to hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself a righteous activity. So one who hears about Krishna is dwelling in Krishna, who is hearing about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is living in everyone's heart, is acting as everyone's best wishing friend or eternal well-wisher, and by hearing, a devotee gets purified and the dormant transcendental knowledge gradually begins to develop. Their impurities of the heart are also wiped away, their doubts are taken away, and they start relishing the name of Krishna. They start enjoying the pastimes of Krishna, and Bhakti Yoga is the only thing, Prabhupada says, quoting Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, 17th to 21st verse. It says, Prabhupada is quoting in this verse that in purport that Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once at the stage of asamshayam samagram, understanding of the Supreme Personality, Supreme Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead. So there are hard knots in our hearts, in ourselves, which prevent us from understanding or taking the authority of the spiritual knowledge or taking the authority of the absolute Supreme Person. So once the lusts will go away, the impurities will get wiped off, this will start to happen. And one will be able to understand the Krishna consciousness, which is the science of Krishna. Or in Hindi, like we say, Krishna Bhavanmrita. Your consciousness will start experiencing Krishna everywhere, in everything around you, and in every person as well, because every person has got the part and parcel Krishna in their hearts as Super Soul or Paramatma. In text 2, Krishna says that to Arjun that he will now declare to him this full knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So this is the ultimate knowledge one has to know, and Krishna is revealing this to Arjun. This is a complete knowledge of the phenomenal world around us and the spirit behind it. The Lord wants to explain this knowledge to Arjun because Arjun is his confidential friend and a devotee. So in the 4th chapter, in the purport, Prabhupada tells us that this was given by the Lord in the beginning of the 4th chapter, and now in this chapter here, in the 7th chapter, it is confirmed that this can be only achieved by the devotee of the Lord in disciplic succession directly from the Lord. So, but one has to be intelligent enough to know the source of the knowledge, which is Krishna himself. He is the cause of all the causes, and he is the only object of meditation in all types of yoga practice. In Mundaka Upanishad 1.3, it says, Kasmin Bhagavo Vijnate Sarvam Idam Vijnatam Bhavati. When the cause of all causes become known, then everything knowable becomes known and nothing remains unknown. So everything is completely understood then. In verse 3, Prabhupada has translated the verse which Krishna is saying to Arjun, that out of many thousands among men, one may become, by their endeavors, they become perfect, and one who have achieved that perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So even people who have achieved the perfection with a lot of endeavor, Krishna says, even among those people, among them, even you will find hard to see one person who has completely found the truth. So by fortune, one gets the association of devotees, and slowly the dormant love for Krishna will awaken in your heart. Slowly it will happen, and even if you try your best, Krishna says, amongst the thousands, one might know, but that one also might not know Krishna completely. And in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining to us that everybody is engaged in the mundane activities of this life. Everybody has got the animal propensity, like we all have the eating propensity, because we have to, for survival, we have to eat, then we need sleep as well, we have to rest, we defend, and then all the species, including our species, we reproduce as well. So these are the activities which are completely common to all the species, and none of these activities, or everybody's interested in these activities, but hardly you find a handful of people who are interested in the transcendental knowledge. So the first 6 chapters, Prabhupada is telling us again, the chapters of Karma Yoga, they were meant for those people who are interested in transcendental knowledge only, in understanding the self, the super self, and the process of Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and the discrimination of the self from the matter. So the first 6 chapters are for the ones who are interested in this superficial knowledge only. But Krishna can only be known by the persons who are in Krishna consciousness. So from chapter 7 now onwards, Krishna will be telling more about himself to Arjun. So the chapters of Bhakti Yoga have begun from chapter 7. If you are interested in Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti will be more clearly revealed to you by Krishna in these chapters. Some transcendentalists will try to achieve only the Brahman realization. This is again the same thing Prabhupada has to repeat for us again and again, that some people will be Krishna consciousness, some will be achieving the impersonal Brahman realization, saying that no, Bhagwan is not a person, Bhagwan is just a Bhagwan hasn't got a form. So their idea will be of the Brahman realization, about the light coming from, the effulgence coming from Krishna. They just want to be, they're only interested in that. And the other transcendentalists will understand Krishna as a supreme person, and they will say that he is beyond the knowledge of Brahman and Paramatma. Paramatma is the aspect of Bhagwan within us, in our hearts. So there will be always three types of people in this world. So in other words, there will be people in three stages of bhakti, three stages of advancement, so as to say, in this world. It's better to have people in one of these stages than to have people who are not interested in the authority of the higher power at all. So it's better to be situated in one of these three grades of bhakti, we can say, than to be a completely an atheist who is not interested in any kind of authority, or who is not interested to know about the supreme person, or his Brahman aspect, or the Paramatma aspect. So like we were reading earlier on in the 6th chapter, that the yogis and jnanis are confused to understand Krishna, and there are many still in this world, like maybe it's their stage of bhakti, that they're happy to be in that kind of stage. They do not want to accept the authority of Bhagwan or the commentary given by Bhagwan in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhagwan is the supreme personality of the cause of all causes. He is the primeval Lord. He is the highest authority. He is the Lord Govinda. Ishwarah Parma Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karan Karanam. This is said in Brahma Samhita, and so it is very difficult for the people who are not devotees of Krishna to understand him. Although, there are, Prabhupada is again telling us that there are some people who are not devotees, who are not the bhakt of the Bhagwan. They might say to us that, yes, the path of bhakti is very easy. So they don't want to practice it. So people who don't want to come to this path of bhakti, they will have their own excuses, which is true for all of us, that something which we don't want to follow or we don't want to pursue, we'll always have excuses not to follow it. But actually we know that no path is easy. Even trying to get any academic knowledge, or trying to get any kind of mastery in any subject, we have to become so disciplined. We have to practice over and over. Then only we are able to become better in that. So bhakti is similar. We have to follow the rules and regulations, and we have to be really focused in our sadhana, which is or the practice. And it is something which has to be done daily, over and over, and we don't have any excuses not to do it, especially once we have taken the initiation from the spiritual master. Then we have to do certain number of rounds every day, chanting. We can't have any excuses. We have to put certain times of hours aside to practice our sadhana bhakti. So Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says to us, Shruti Smriti Purana Adi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Ekantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpa Taiva Kalpate. So the devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like Upanishads, Purans and Narad Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in the society. So for the person who is not thinking of Bhagwan as a person, who is only thinking about the personalist aspect of Bhagwan, that is, they are just happy to understand Bhagwan as a light coming from Bhagwan's form, the effulgence, or the Paramatma realized yogi who is just happy to think of Bhagwan as Paramatma who is within our hearts as super soul. Now these two, they won't be able to understand Bhagwan just as Mother Yashoda or the they won't be able to understand Godhead or Bhagwan as the son of Mother Yashoda or the charioteer of Arjun. So until we have this understanding in our heads that or we have cleaned our hearts and we have awakened the dormant aspect of our bhakti, then only we will be able to understand that yes, Bhagwan came, took the form of Mother Yashoda's son, and he was also the charioteer of Arjun in the battle of Kurukshetra. The yogi who is only interested in the Paramatma aspect and the Brahma realized impersonalist, these two, they will not accept Bhagwan as the son of Mother Yashoda or the charioteer of Arjun. Even they say the demigods, they are confused about Krishna. Muhyanti yat suryaha mam tu veda nakaschana. Bhagwan says, no one knows me as I am. The Lord says, and if one does know him, then sa mahatma su durlabhaha. So person who is understanding Bhagwan as Bhagwan is, that person or that great soul is very rare. So unless and until devotional service is practiced to the Lord, one will not have this knowledge that Bhagwan is Tattvataha, he is, even though that person might be a great scholar. So the pure devotees, they know the transcendental qualities of Krishna, that he is the cause of all causes, he is omnipotent, his opulence is more than any of anyone else in this world, and he in his faith, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge and renunciation, nobody is equal to him, and he is the last word in Brahman realization. So it is said, Ataha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyaha sevan mukhe hi jivadu swayam eva sfurtiya adaha. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to his devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service to him. This is again from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, verse 234, which is Nectar of Devotion in English. So in these first 3 verses, Bhagwan has told to Arjun that just by the dint of hearing from the bona fide source, from the bona fide spiritual master, from the bona fide scriptures, one is able to understand who Bhagwan is, because in this world, generally we only accept things when our senses are able to see the proof. But in the case of spiritual knowledge, it starts with hearing. So, and it is a descending knowledge coming from topmost, from Krishna down to the following acharyas from time to time, and then finally to the acharya or the teacher or the guru. You have taken the disciplic knowledge from, you have become the disciple of. Okay, so from 7th chapter we have begun the Bhakti Yoga. So we will be learning more and more about the devotional service. Krishna will be telling us from chapter 7 up to chapters 12. We have tried to unfold the meaning of the first 3 verses today, and we hope to continue further on from verse 4 onwards. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat and Hare Krishna. Hope you have a wonderful week, offering the lamps of lamp to Damodar and hearing the katha of Damodar. And also happy Bahulashtami again to everyone, because last night, midnight, Krishna in Radha Kund, the Radha Kund appearance day was after midnight, and today is Bahulashtami. And Bahula Ashtami is the story about the cow who appeared and a tiger wanted to devour her, but she took some time from the tiger and went to her Brahman owner, and she said to the tiger that I want to feed my calf. And then how the calf, the cow and the cow, they came back to the tiger, but then somehow Krishna told the tiger not to eat the cow, so the tiger will get the higher platform in his life. And the tiger agreed, and they say in the present times you can see the murtis of these 4, the cow, the tiger, the calf and the Brahman, by the Krishna Kund or the Sham Kund. And again, happy Bahulashtami to all of you. Hare Krishna.